An entrepreneur is someone who will jump off a cliff and assemble an airplane on the way down. Reid Hoffman. Entrepreneurs have never been passive souls sitting idly by, waiting for the perfect moment to take a step. They profoundly understand the ultimate truth. Life rarely rolls out a red carpet of roses. Instead, they bravely venture into the bewildering unknown, where every decision carries an immense weight, where every mistake exacts a heavy toll, and just a blink of hesitation is enough to let a destined opportunity slip away. The greatest terror lies not at the bottom of the abyssal depth, but in that moment of suspension in midair, forcing us to free fall while simultaneously learning how to flap our wings. It is an agonizingly painful, yet magnificent metamorphosis that founders, dreamers, or anyone daring to step beyond their limits must endure. There is no flawless blueprint drafted in advance. There is no written guarantee of success. Out there is only an ironclad belief, a burning desire to learn, and an indomitable will that refuses to bow down and surrender. The entrepreneur is like a courageous craftsman, meticulously tightening every bolt in the eye of a storm. Gravity waits for no one, and complaints are nothing but passing breezes. Every skill acquired is a feather adding to the wings. Every scratch from failure is a rivet fortifying the frame. And after every stagger from an impact, they inch closer to the sky of freedom, where they belong. True courage is not being numb to fear, but mastering the art of alchemy, turning trembling fear into burning fuel for action. They understand that absolute perfection is merely an illusion. If they linger on the edge of the cliff, waiting for a cloudless day, they will stand there forever, watching others soar majestically in the sky that rightfully belongs to them. Life always bows to reward the warriors who sharpen their swords while charging into battle, not those who wait until they are fully armored to timidly step onto the battlefield. Everyone in this lifetime faces a cliff shaped in their own image, a life or death crossroad, a wild ambition, a once-in-a-millennium serendipity, or a fear that has imprisoned them for too long. What dictates your destiny is not whether you tremble in fear, but whether you dare to cast yourself into the void and persistently mend your wings amidst the roaring tempest. Because the proudest wings do not sprout at the starting line. They are forged from blood, sweat, unwavering valor, and the fierce conviction that, even while plummeting into the abyss, a person still possesses the power to spring back up into the boundless sky. The key to everything is patience. You get the chicken by hatching the egg, not by smashing it. Arnold H. Glasow. Humanity has always spiraled in the thirst for instantaneous success, wanting immediate wealth, wanting to master knowledge after just a few restless nights, and wanting a life-changing miracle in the blink of an eye. But Mother Nature has never once yielded to the impulsive impatience of mankind. A tiny seed must absorb the essence of heaven and earth to have the strength to sprout. A river must flow tirelessly for eons to carve a majestic canyon. And humans too need the grinding trials of time to attain maturity. The act of shattering the fragile shell out of sheer impatience does not bring forth life. It only leaves behind an opportunity that barely took shape before painfully withering away. The path, thought to be the shortest shortcut, ultimately becomes the deepest abyss leading to destruction. The burning desire to skip phases often stems from the fear of being left behind, the pressure to flaunt one's worth, or the arrogant habit of wanting to manipulate all things to one's will. We lock ourselves in a cage of comparison, drowning in the aura of others while forgetting the thousands of days they spent silently enduring hardships. Feelings of instability and anxiousness have robbed countless people of their chances right on the threshold of dawn. They are like half-hearted well diggers, striking a few times and hastily moving on, spinning in a lifetime of dead ends without ever reaching the cool underground spring, not because they lacked talent, but because they stripped themselves of the belief in the quiet power of endurance. Yet, absolute patience is by no means surrendering and just waiting for the right time. It is the steadfast courage to keep walking in the tranquility of the soul, even when the sweet fruit has not yet taken form. Those who carry the mindset of patience understand this. Every day, filtering a piece of knowledge, every time patching up a mistake, every tiny footstep is silently pouring solid, concrete blocks for the pedestal of tomorrow's fame. Just like a wise farmer who never murders a young sprout by pulling it out by the roots to force it to grow, we cannot force greatness to blossom through trivial desires. All enduring values must be distilled by time, sharpened by discipline, and nurtured by an unshakable faith in the process. The universe always reserves priceless rewards for those souls who understand and flow with the rhythm of heaven and earth. When you are profound enough to bow your head in learning rather than rushing to make a name for yourself, calm enough to march steadily forward rather than collapsing before temporary delays, you are forging for yourself an invincible armor. Achievement is like a living creature stirring within an eggshell. Your job is not to shatter that sacred cycle with violent haste, but to silently keep the flame of belief burning, so that when the moment strikes, the very thing you have yearned for will proudly step forth, brimming with vitality and radiant glory. Cherish your attention. What you pay attention to shapes what you care about, and what you care about shapes who you are. Jonathan Haidt. Every passing day, we unknowingly surrender our attention to tens of thousands of frivolities, sensational news, fragmented and soulless arguments, words of flattery or scorn, or fleeting figures walking through our lives. That supposedly harmless, surging current is silently sculpting the contours of our mindset, the rhythm of our emotions, and the behavioral ruts of our very selves. The human mind is like a plot of fertile, alluvial soil. Any seed watered with attention will firmly root itself deep within. If we let ourselves relentlessly sink into the quagmire of negativity, the shadow of fear will grow ever larger, blotting out the sun. But if we gather our gaze to sow the seeds of knowledge, gratitude, and pure gems of kindness, the garden of the soul will bloom with peace and resilient inner strength. Attention is the master key that throws wide open the doors into the realm of the subconscious. The echoes we repeatedly replay in our minds will crystallize into beliefs. Beliefs sculpt our habits. Habits carve our character, and eventually, that character will write the destiny of a lifetime. That is the answer to the question of why two individuals caught in the exact same storm walk down two entirely divergent paths. One glues their eyes solely to the deep pits of despair, ultimately imprisoning themselves in the dungeon of limitations. The other gathers their vision toward the blazing stars of opportunity, extracting lessons and turning adversity into a launchpad to rise. It is not the world outside that flips upside down, but the anchoring point of their attention that draws the boundary lines of their lives. In an era where every fraction of a second holds a myriad of sounds and colors fighting to drain our gaze, the art of mastering attention ascends to an ultimate superpower. Every time you unconsciously let your mind drift into murky streams of information and meaningless rivalries, you are handing over the steering wheel of your life to someone else. Conversely, when you mindfully collect words of wisdom, conversations that plant the seeds of hope, and people who elevate you, you become the master architect of your own inner world. Attention is like a blindingly brilliant sun. Wherever the sunlight lingers the longest, life there will flourish the fiercest. We do not morph into our current versions solely through earth-shattering decisions, but through countless, tiny, nameless moments when we dictate where our gaze drops its anchor. Guard your focus as fiercely as you would protect a precious gem. Wealth drains and fills again. Time may fade, but leaves behind traces of effort. But attention, once squandered on superficial things, will silently erode you into a mere shadow that even you yourself would have to turn away from. When you learn to converge your mind upon high and noble ideals, nurturing compassion and the aspiration to rise, you not only change how you view the world, but you are daily carving out a brighter, purer version of yourself. Your best source of good ideas, big and small, is the people who work with you or for you. Dan Gilbert. A masterful leader is never a solitary ruler hoarding all the truth, but a brilliant artist who knows how to quietly listen to the harmonies echoing from their team. Every individual is a miniature universe, carrying within them a unique lens, experiences of shatter and sublimation, and escape routes we might never have imagined. When those splashes of character are valued and allowed to intersect, a single spark struck from the mundane is enough to forge revolutions that dethrone an entire collective. As human beings, we easily lock ourselves in the ivory towers of personal experience. We are accustomed to viewing the world through the lens of what is known, the miles we have traversed, and the glories we have reaped. It is precisely those very walls that inadvertently weave the fateful blind spots in our mindset. In places where our light does not shine, our companions become our second pair of eyes. An employee embedded on the front lines will understand the heartbeat of the market better than any report on a desk. A young colleague carrying hot-blooded passion might sow wild ideas that the old guard no longer has the energy to dream up. An individual quietly performing the humblest tasks is sometimes the one who voices the key to decoding the entire situation, because they view the picture from a completely different angle. Great collective intelligence is like a grand mosaic masterpiece. Each person holds only a single, solitary fragment, but when skillfully placed side by side, they blaze into a magnificent picture. Tragically, the ghost of arrogant ego often ruthlessly strangles diamond-like ideas when the captain is solely intoxicated by absorbing words of praise, when the boss rejects every voice rising from below, or when a collective is cloaked in the fear of judgment. The seeds of innovation will wither and die young. The stream of creativity never flourishes under the blade of authoritarianism. It sprouts on the soft, porous soil of empathy and trust. Just as a flame craves oxygen to burn, creativity requires raw and authentic dialogues. A thorny interrogation, a naive question, or a perspective swimming against the current is sometimes the spark that gives birth to monumental strides. The timeless monuments of success all engrave one truth into their core. The most brilliant halo is not about making oneself the brightest star in the room, but the mastery of gathering exceptional minds, awakening their potential, and blending their currents of thought into a waterfall of power. When every heart feels its own beat, synchronizing with the collective heartbeat, they not only sweat to contribute, but completely dedicate their creative fire and devoted loyalty. That is the moment a group of people stops wandering around the idea of working together and ascends into those who create together. Because the most extraordinary inventions are rarely the solo performance of a lonely genius. They are a magnificent symphony, sung from the humility of knowing how to listen, from faith in people, and from a nurturing space where every thought has the right to proudly raise its voice. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work at hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. Alexander Graham Bell. The morning sun scatters its golden light across the world every dawn, stretching out sweet, harmonious, and harmless. However, by merely borrowing a fragile lens to gather those scattered beams into a single point, we can awaken a raging fire. The intellectual essence of humanity also follows the prism of nature. The root of unfinished endeavors, ironically, does not lie in our incompetence, but in how we splinter our original energy source, scattering it upon thousands of frivolous goals, trivial concerns, and the temptations entrapping us. A river roars with majestic might because it channels all its force to flow in a single direction. If it diverges into myriad little streams, its greatness will pant and dry up before its lips can even touch the vast ocean. Focus is the meditative state of the mind, the ability to hold the reins of attention amidst endless distractions. The human brain possesses a primal curiosity, always thirsting for something new. A message chime, a piece of idle gossip, or a fleeting thought is enough to collapse a suspended train of thought. Every time the line of sight is broken, the brain struggles and consumes exponentially more energy to patch the initial deep flow back together. This strips bare a harsh reality. Countless people toil away exhaustingly from dawn till dusk. Yet, when night falls, they face absolute emptiness. They are not poor in time. What they lack is the fortitude to bind their minds to what is most essential. Great visionaries do not drain their strength trying to juggle dozens of tasks to outdo others. They do less, but with a presence so complete and profound that it is absolute. When they open a page of a book, they immerse themselves in every letter. When they hone a craft, they offer up their very souls to absorb it. When they tackle their work, they slam shut all doors leading to past grievances or future anxieties, just to let themselves burn brightly in the present moment. It is precisely that razor-sharp vision of focus that helps them perceive the microscopic specks of dust that the rest of the world glosses over, unlock the keys hidden in the dark, and crystallize timeless masterpieces. Glory rarely blossoms from shallow, impulsive moments. It is a pedestal of flowers nurtured by tens of thousands of grueling hours, converging one's attention onto a single, solitary goal. The trajectory of each human life is like the sacred light of the sun. Everyone is granted an equal treasure trove of time, an aura of energy, and an expanse of thought. The line carved between the ordinary and the extraordinary lies not in the volume of light, but in the art of focusing that light onto the exact focal point of destiny. When you ruthlessly cast aside distractions, place the crown of priority upon the ultimate goal, and madly hone it every single day, that invisible energy will incarnate into a physical power capable of moving mountains and filling seas. Earth-shaking miracles do not rise from shallow haste, but sprout from a mind that knows how to condense, an ironclad will that refuses to sway, and a heart steadfast enough to walk all the way into the light. Just as a sunbeam only bursts into a proud flame when gathered, the grand potential of humanity only truly blazes when the entire mind, faith, and action weave together into a single arrow, soaring straight to the finish line. Below is the complete continuing script, upholding the refined, highly figurative, and fluid style of the previous section. All original quotes are preserved, and the analysis is elevated with polished and profound language. The best move a new entrepreneur can make is to take a risk, go for it, and fail on day one. What happens next will shape the rest of that person's business career. Chip gains. In business, as in the stormy arena of life, no one can truly understand the ocean by merely standing on the sandy shore, watching the waves. Only when setting sail, confronting head-on the fierce crests, the torrential currents, and the sudden sweeping gales, does the sailor truly touch the art of navigation. Early stumbles, though scraping and bitter, are the very first foundational bricks to build an impenetrable fortress of future success. Human beings inherently carry the psychological urge to avoid pain, fearing loss, fearing harsh judgments, and fearing the feeling of their own helplessness. That vague terror imprisons them in a state of perpetual procrastination. They spend their entire youth preparing, yet never truly begin. They wait for more knowledge, accumulate more capital, search for more confidence, or wait for a perfect moment that naturally exists only as a mirage. On the contrary, those who dare to plunge in will soon possess an invaluable asset that no book can bestow: empirical experience. Failure in the early days is like a strict teacher. It strips bare one's weaknesses, forcing a restructuring of thought, a fluid change in methodology, and the forging of adaptive instincts. Lessons etched deep into the bones with sweat, tears, and inner fractures always carry a far more profound resonance than 10,000 hollow words of advice. True mettle is dictated by the attitude of response after collapses. Some view a fall as a life sentence for failure and choose to surrender to fate, but others view it as an invaluable source of data to perfect themselves. The discrepancy in this perspective has forged two diametrically opposed destinies. One lets failure dictate their self-worth, while the other uses failure to redefine their own limits. After every time they rise from the ashes, they are not only stronger, but wiser, because they have intimately known which path is righteous and which trap must be shunned. Enduring achievements are never built upon a smooth and placid road. They are tempered through courageous decisions, highly risky trials, consecutive mistakes, and the resilient ability to bounce back from adversity. A new entrepreneur does not need to prove themselves invincible. What is paramount is proving the ability to learn and stand back up faster after every fall. When you are brave enough to step out of your comfort zone, embrace calculated risks, and view failure as an inevitable chapter in the book of growth, you will no longer view falls as the end of the line. Instead, every stumble will turn into a solid stepping stone, lifting you closer to the capable, wise, and proud version you are striving toward. Luck and efficiency are closely related. They help you achieve what you want faster and easier than just relying on sheer effort. Suh Yoon Lee: effort is a sturdy pedestal, efficiency is the compass shaping the path, and luck is the favorable wind propelling the sails to the shores of glory, faster and gentler than ever before. However, people often fall into the trap of one-sidedness. When reaping success, they easily delude themselves into thinking it was all due to their own genius. When tasting the bitterness of defeat, they entirely blame the betrayal of fate. Both of those perspectives are exceedingly narrow. Luck has never been a random charity. It only seeks out and resides in souls that have prepared themselves to grasp it. A precious fortune becomes meaningless if the receiver lacks the knowledge, skills, and fortitude to transform the opportunity into sweet fruit. Conversely, a person who toils day and night but lacks the right methods will only drain their strength in exchange for modest achievements. Efficiency is the art of optimizing resources to create maximum value, while luck is the magical catalyst that helps well-directed efforts flourish brilliantly. Imagine two boats navigating against ferocious waters. Both are using all their might to row, but the one who observes the ocean currents, rides with the wind, and chooses the right route will go further with minimal energy expenditure. If, right at that moment, a favorable wind arises, their journey becomes a graceful dance. That wind is luck, and the mindset to choose the direction and distribute strength rationally is efficiency. If there are only howling winds but torn sails, the boat will sink into the storm. If there is only sheer muscle, but it goes against the laws of nature, one will soon be exhausted before even seeing the destination. True success is not doing more, but doing smarter, and knowing how to anticipate favorable conditions when they arise. The most wonderful thing is that neither efficiency nor luck are immutable. Innate gifts. They can be honed and multiplied over time. When you relentlessly expand the frontiers of your knowledge, connect with high-quality networks, stay sharp to the times, and maintain an open mind, you are handwriting an invitation to luck. Simultaneously, each accumulated experience will sharpen your decision-making, helping you use time smarter to create monumental breakthroughs from the same initial effort. We cannot control the direction of life's wind, but we absolutely can prepare the most flawless sail. When meticulous preparation meets the ripeness of timing, when efficiency walks hand in hand with perseverance and luck knocks on the door precisely on cue, all limits are shattered. That is no miracle, but the inevitable law for those who know how to engage in intellectual labor, ready to embrace opportunity and turn every speck of luck into a launch pad for great achievements tomorrow. Every decision has consequences. I'm willing to take a risk, but I want it to be a calculated risk. Don Eckles. The pinnacle of glory never shelters the blindly reckless, nor does it smile upon trembling souls too afraid to step forward. Miracles only appear when there is a flawless fusion between the aspiration to rise and a sharp, pragmatic vision, between unmatched boldness and a spirit of disciplined responsibility. We often oscillate between two extremes of emotion, either being so terrified that we choose freezing in inaction, watching opportunities slip by in belated regret, or being so overly arrogant, believing the world will move to our will, that we turn a blind eye to the omens of danger. Both states are slaves to emotions rather than masters of reason. Those who know how to take calculated risks do not deny fear. They simply refuse to let fear dictate their behavior. They dedicate time to dissecting information, projecting the worst-case scenarios, and erecting impenetrable shields of defense. It is this profound clarity that tames risk from a ferocious beast into a puzzle securely within control. Look at the lone mountaineer before the snow-capped peak. They know well that the journey ahead is besieged by deep chasms, slippery rocks, and blizzards that could strike at any moment. But instead of indifferently retreating, they meticulously prepare their safety ropes, gauge equipment metrics, study every fold of the terrain, and patiently wait for the optimal moment to depart. The mountaineer still faces peril, but it is a peril that has been rigorously measured. In business and in life alike, courage only holds true value when guided by knowledge, practical experience, and a keen ability to quantify situations. Timeless monuments of success never wagered their entire legacy on a gamble driven by fleeting emotions. They profoundly understand that every choice carries a corresponding price. Before nodding in agreement, they see through to the value received in return. Before uttering a rejection, they weigh the opportunities that will be lost. They are not blinded by short-term gains, but always place their decisions under the lens of long-term impacts on their careers, relationships, and the core values they passionately pursue. That is the manifestation of a mindset capable of bearing responsibility, rather than merely chasing temporary excitement. This world always holds variables lying outside our calculations. We cannot eradicate risk entirely, but we absolutely can learn to manage it. True wisdom lies not in dodging every trial, but in the ability to walk into a trial with a mindset prepared to the absolute limit. When you know how to think deeply before acting, to measure before making a choice, and stand ready to take responsibility for your decisions, every risk ceases to be a blind step. It morphs into a worthy investment for your growth, a test of your mettle, and a sturdy bridge moving you ever closer to sustainable achievements in the future. The trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score. Bill Copeland. A player might wring out their last drops of sweat running a full 90 minutes on the pitch, but if they have no idea where the opponent's goal is, all their lightning-fast strides are merely soulless, meaningless motions. The human journey operates under the exact same law. The value of a human life is not measured by its frantic busyness, but dictated by the destination we are steering toward. A goal is the awakened compass of the mind. When we establish a clear destination, the brain automatically activates its priority mode, filtering out opportunities, knowledge, and compatible actions to serve that very objective. Conversely, lacking a focal point, we are easily swept into a vortex of urgent but worthless tasks, seduced by glamorous but misaligned invitations, or too busy chasing someone else's life that we forsake our own. Exhaustion, in truth, comes not from the pressure of work, but from energy leaking into infinite voids, slowly decaying our vitality without bringing forth any substantive results. A ship with no mapped voyage will be tossed adrift by the winds and waves. A soul without a goal will be molded by circumstances and public opinion according to their whims. The greatest tragedy of a lifetime is the fatal confusion between activity and achievement. We mistakenly believe that just keeping ourselves constantly busy means success will naturally knock on the door. But busyness only reflects the rate of time consumption, whereas a goal is what determines the value of that time. A person chopping wood with a dull axe for 10 consecutive hours cannot compare to one who spends an hour sharpening the blade, then works efficiently in the brief time remaining. When the goal is illuminated, every action holds a soul. Every decision is filtered through the question, does this bring me closer to my desired haven? That simple question serves as a powerful filter, helping us clear the noise of life to focus on what is truly essential. A goal is not merely a destination. It is the ultimate nutrient fueling inner motivation. Knowing exactly what we are fighting for gives us the reason to stay resolute through stormy days, the strength to rise from humiliating defeats, and enough faith to keep marching, even when darkness still envelops us. A goal turns the sacrifices and hardships of today into a costly investment for tomorrow, transforms brutal trials into lessons carved in bone, and turns every tiny footstep into a piece of a life's epic poem. Life does not measure your worth by how many times you run, but by how close you have advanced to your goalposts. Before trying to do more, take the time to shape what it is you truly wish to attain. When the goal is clear, time will be used much smarter. Energy will converge more powerfully, and every step, no matter how small, will bring you closer to the life you desire. Those with a goal do not merely live working hard, they live with direction. And it is that very direction that turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary achievements. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Walt Disney. Deep within the soul of every human being, there harbors the spark of a dream. There are humble dreams, yearning for a life of quiet peace. Then there are grandiose aspirations, powerful enough to shift the very currents of the future. Yet, the boundary distinguishing a pure dreamer from a visionary who turns dreams into reality lies not in innate talent or the favors of fate, but in one single word: courage. A dream is like a towering lighthouse standing tall in the cold, desolate night sea. It only holds meaning when we have the valor to pull up the anchor, leaving the safe harbor to charge into the gales, heading straight toward that light. What holds the vast majority of us back is not the altitude of our dreams, but the depths of our fears. We fear stumbling. We fear rejection. We fear the mocking laughter of the world. We fear wasting our time, and we fear the feeling of having to start over from ruins. Those fears silently weave an invisible cage, imprisoning and eroding all of our inherent potential. The saddest part is that this cage is not built by external circumstances, but erected by the negative thoughts within our own minds. Every time we tell ourselves, "I'm not good enough," "I don't have the chance," or "it's too late to start," we are willingly surrendering control of our lives to fear rather than ambition. Courage has never been the absence of fear. Courage is when the heart is still trembling, yet the legs stride firmly forward. Just as a seed must accept the shattering of its tough outer shell to have a chance to stretch out as a giant tree welcoming the morning sun, humans too must bravely smash their comfort zones to touch true growth. Every great enterprise once began as a primitive idea. Every legend was once an unknown, faced with doubt. The single commonality among them is not a life completely devoid of fear or skepticism, but the fact that they never allowed those doubts to dictate their actions. They understand that the journey to pursue a dream will be riddled with falls, cold doors slamming shut, and dark nights that seem to promise no dawn. But it is those very agonizing trials that forge an iron will, stack up experience, and help them become their strongest versions. Every step, no matter how small, is a moment we unlock a new door. Every lesson accumulated is a brick building a solid foundation. And every time we resiliently conquer adversity, it is a moment we turn the seemingly impossible into the possible. A dream does not ignite itself simply because we wish for it. It only burns fiercely when fueled by an ironclad faith, guarded by boundless perseverance, and manifested through ceaseless action. Life always reserves its most magnificent rewards for those who dare to live fully for their aspirations. You may have to swallow a few painful defeats. Your pace might be slower than others, but the greatest tragedy is not failing on the journey to pursue a dream, but never having had the courage to take the first step. Because dreams were not born to lie dormant in the drawers of imagination. They were born to lead humans past every boundary of self, to unearth skies of potential never before known, and to write a radiant life, so that when looking back, you can proudly smile, knowing you lived with all the courage of a proud heart.